Good morning, afternoon, and evening from wherever you are listening. Welcome back to the Break Evens Pod. My name is Corey, and as always, with me is Jack.
Hello.
So, first of all, as we always do, I want to thank everyone for their ongoing support. We had a huge amount of people on Twitter yesterday and today. We had a massive, it was about a 30-person discussion on the R2 spot. And who people are going with. So if you haven't seen that, jump on Twitter at BreakEvensPod and go look at that thread. It's awesome. People are coming together, helping each other out, and that's what we're here to do. So check it out. Thanks to everyone for following or just getting in the discussion. It's been awesome. So as I said, you can find us on Twitter at BreakEvensPod. And we are on YouTube at The Break Evens, and the same for Apple Podcasts at The Break Evens. You can search us up there. Just before we get into the news, I've brought the news segment back. Just a public announcement regarding our Supercoach Draft League. At the moment, we have 8 out of the 10 people needed for our draft. It's scheduled for next Wednesday, the 9th of March at 8 p.m. If you'd like to join, the code is 381227. If it does tell you it's full, let us know on Twitter and we can change that to try and fit everyone in as much as possible. Apart from that, let's get into the past week's news before we go into our top 10 midfield rankings by average. I will say, just quickly, I don't have all the stats for every team here. I could only find certain few. So some teams might have Supercoach scores, some teams might not, some teams might have CBAs, some teams may not. It's just a whole thing. I've found as much as I could. And all these notes were done last night, so the stuff done today, I'll run through it quickly at the end. Okay, so we'll get into Adelaide. Josh Rachele, lock, absolutely dominated the practice game, 3 goals, found the ball up on the wing, went back into the forward line, did everything, get around him. Hinge, 180k defender. He was solid. You just need to watch his role and be a little bit more his role is a bit more accountable at times, meaning he's a key defender. So some games he may not score as well. Some games he might score the 65 to 75. So that's just something to be weary with. But with a few very cheap options just gone down with injuries, he's looking good. Jordan Dawson, calf soreness. He's going to miss the Amy Series game, but Matthew Dix has come out and said he is fine for round 1. He's come out of my side because he might have to work his way into it, so to look out for that. We'll get into the Adelaide CBAs for the practice games. So Rob and Laird had 21 CBAs. Matt Crouch, Schoenberg, and Sam Berry had 17. Keys had 9. That was all I was able to find. And
He's had 9.
Keys had 9, yep. And Miller is a chance to play in the Amy game. But if he doesn't, he's definitely playing is it Sandful or the VFL, whichever one's going on, he'll be playing that. So he's playing this week, just might not be in the AFL. To Brisbane, Lachie Neale, 144 Supercoach in the practice game. Jared Berry, 158 Supercoach, lock him in. Same with Zach Bailey, 141 Supercoach, absolutely dominated. Rayner worked his way into the contest. It was quite early, but he had strong CBAs and he looked strong. Very hard to tackle, and looks like when he eventually gets onto the taps, he could explode out or just hold his ground and release the ball. Wilmot was amazing in game. Unfortunately, he did a dangerous tackle and got suspended for a week. I don't know how that works in a practice game, but he's not playing round one.
Was it a bad tackle?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a sling tackle.
Because Parfitt did one against Richmond and the refs did nothing about it, and there's no news on it.
Yeah.
Like, he picked up Edwards and dropped him on his head, and that was holding the ball. Great tackle.
Yeah, so I watched the game and Wilmot had two like dangerous-ish tackles, but I didn't know you could get suspended for the AFL in practice games for a tackle.
Yeah, no.
Zorko will not be playing in the Amy series, but he should be okay for round one. Mainly midfield forward, but they might bring him back slowly through the defense. But we'll see what happens there. To the CBAs, Neil, 23 CBAs. Big O had 16. Lions and Fort had 15. The Suitcase McCluggage had 14. Bailey 13, and Rayner and Berry 12. And Kitty Coleman is playing in this next Amy game, so he'll be back. He's done all his COVID stuff. Carlton, Kerno, he looked promising, taking marks on the lead. He only scored 47 super coach, but that's because he could not kick for goal. I'm about to get to it, Jack. In the fourth quarter, he had a little knee scare. They said it's nothing major. They didn't send him for scans. He's not playing this Amy game. It's all precaution. So just look out for that. Cripps had 98 super coach, looked like the Cripps of old. Does that change when Walsh comes back? Who knows? But for the first month, Cripps is looking like a solid option, I'd say, but I'm still staying clear. Chera, 108 super coach, and Hewitt, 99. The three of them look dominant in the midfield. They all got bulk CBAs. I think that's what they're going to go with until Walsh comes back, and then there'll be some sort of rotation there, probably with Hewitt. McGovern had 71 super coach, looked comfortable down back. He was playing that +1 sweeper role, so good for intercept marks. Is 256k, I believe, so he could be a solid option. Looks like Harry Mackay is going to miss games early, so looks like Kerno, if he's fit, he'll be the go-to guy. Yes, Jack?
The Amy game for tomorrow night was announced and Harry Mackay's playing.
Is he?
Yes.
Well, then, I did not know that. Disregard.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Kerno's not playing, but Harry Mackay is in.
Okay, I was sort of saying that he might be out for round one. But, okay, he's playing, so disregard that.
That
Doherty
was released like an hour ago. Okay. Not even.
I must have missed it. So Doherty is building towards round one. He's going to play in the VFL this week. So promising signs there. What does that mean for Hewitt and his halfback role? Who knows? So Cripps had 18 CBAs, Chera had 15, and Hewitt had 14. Collingwood, Grundy, lock him in. He looked really good. He was moving well, getting around the ground.
A lot of players looked good in that game in general.
I don't know if it was just because we absolutely smashed Hawthorn, but he looked good. He was moving around, taking marks, doing all the Grundy things. He looks fit. Same with Chris. He's an absolute lock. He got plenty of CBAs. It's looking like full mid-time. And he's found his way into my side. The GOAT, Lipinski, he's looking like a breakout contender. Could definitely go over that 100. I don't really see him going over 105, but he's getting bulk CBAs, tackles, everything.
I put him in.
If he does that, he's a nice cheaper option. Nick Dacos lock as well. He looked good.
Smooth. A
Wasn't,
lot of time.
Yep.
Looked like he had a lot of time when he was on the ball, even though he was people around him.
Yep. So clearly lock him in. He wasn't crazily good, but we saw enough for him to be a lock. Jeremy Howe, your boy Jack, and John DeGoey are basically set for round one. I know Howe's not playing in the Amy, but DeGoey is a test for the Amy game. If we were smart, we'd just give him the week off and get him ready for round one. And Isaac Quaynor picked up a concussion, so he'll miss the Amy series.
One last one. Scott Pendlebury looked very good down back.
Yes, actually, I forgot to put that in.
I noticed you said, and like Isaac Quaynor was the last one, so I'm like, I got to jump in. He looked very good. He spent the whole game there pretty much.
Yep.
Took every kick in, very composed with his kick ins, hit the target.
Yeah, no, he's going to take bulk kickouts. There was only, what I've got here, there was only 8 kick-ins and he took 5. So
yeah,
I've got a picture here of all the stats. So our leading disposals, Adams had 20, Lipinski 18, Dacos 18, Crisp and so Josh Dacos had 18, Crisp and Nick Dacos had 17, Grundy and Pendles both with 15. Our centre bouncers, Lipinski and Grundy 18, Adams and Crisp 14, Tyler Brown 11, Elliott 9, and Nick Dacos had 8. Tackles 6 to Adams and Kruger, which, by the way, Kruger and Ginnivan are going to be players in the next couple of years. They look exceptional.
Kruger's very cheap backline option as well.
I don't think they play round one, but they should get a chance. They played really well. Noble had 5 tackles, Grundy and McCreary 4, Lipinski and Elliott 3. Inside 50s, Dacos of the Josh variety and Crisp had 4. Adams, Ginnivan, Nick Dacos and Maynard had 3 and Lipinski had 2. As I said, kick-ins, there was only 8. Pendles took 5, Nick Dacos took 2 and Moore took the other one. Rebound 50s, Pendles, Moore 5, Josh Dacos 4, Quaynor, Noble and Murphy 2 and Maynard had 2 as well. Centre clearances, Grundy 3, Crisp 3, Lipinski, Tyler Brown, Taylor Adams 2, Nick Dacos and Mason Cox with 1, who, by the way, looks like a new player with those goggles. Marks, Myercheck 6, Maynard, Cox with 5, Bianco, Crisp with 4, Lipinski and Elliott with 3. And to finish off Collingwood, our goals, Jamie Elliott had 5 halfway through the second quarter. Ginnivan 3, Myercheck 3, Cox 3, Kruger 2, Nick Dacos 1, and Lipinski 1. So,
can I just say, Collingwood's use kicking inside 50 to Cox looked a lot better than it has been the last few years. They were kicking it to his advantage. They weren't kicking it at his head, making him stand and try and wrestle 2 free defenders.
Yeah. Our problem's always been our forward line. So if we get that going, we'll be all right. Let's move on to Essendon because there was a lot on Collingwood. Andy McGrath, 31 on half-back, looked amazing. Looks like an absolute lock back there if given that role. Parrish had 28 touches in 3 quarters. So he's looking to continue on. Ridley started slow and ended on 20 touches. Snelling had 120 Supercoach and Andy McGrath had 115 with Ridley 104 and Parrish 94 and 3 quarters. So you'd think Parrish there 115 plus. Merritt had 21 CBAs. Shield had 20. Looked very good cheap option. Shield if he stays fit. Parrish 15 and Hobbs came in the 4th quarter and had 7. He was in every centre bounce. Just hopefully he gets more game time. And Caldwell 3. Move over to Freo. There was no Darcy due to injuries, but he will be playing in the Amy game. They've come out and said. And there was no Erasmus, but he dominated the reserves. He was the best midfielder by far in that game. So hopefully he gets to go in this Amy series. Will Brodie impressed, and he's put his hand up for round 1. So I'm looking to put him in for Curnow if Curnow looks not great, or that knee lingers for a bit more. So I was hoping to see Curnow in the Amy series, but unfortunately not. So I'm going to have to take a punt on one of those. Andy Brayshaw Gunn. We'll get to him probably a bit later. If he's a guy in the top 10 or a guy just missed out, but he's looking the goods. Jordan Clark ran all day, got plenty of it on the half back, which is his role. Nathan O'Driscoll played on the wing. He looked good. Nothing crazy, but could be a great option for that 60 to 75 at MD6 or on our benches. Hayden Young was good. Sarong promising, and he's still the breakout king. I still think he's going to break out. It wasn't his best game, but I reckon he was still in gear 1. Frederick, 144 super coach. The young bloke, defender last year, came in for a few games, played forward. I'm pretty sure he kicked 5. So look out.
Jeez.
Brayshaw.
Settle down, son. It's only the preseason.
Brayshaw, who I spoke about just before, 139 super coach. Mitch Crowden, 130. Probably Crowden's best game. Brodie had 120, and big boy Meek 115.
Boy to me.
Yeah.
The man himself.
Luke Ryan, Nat 5, and Mundy. They're all looking to play the Amy series. Sarong had 26 CBAs. That's why I think he's going to be a big breakout. Meek had 22.
And you notice that's a lot more than it would have been last season as well.
Oh, yeah, a lot more. Meek had 22, Brayshaw 21, Brodie had 19. And it's looking like Darcy Tucker is unlikely to play in the Amy series, so he's probably not an option. Go to Geelong. Tom Stewart, lock him in. 26 touches, was doing Tom Stewart things, intercepting.
He killed it.
Using the ball, he was taking kickouts. If you can fit him in, I'd fit him in. Hawkins looked good. He had 10 touches, 6 marks, and kicked 4 goals, 3. I think he was playing on Miller, was he, Jack?
Robbie Tarrant,
okay.
And so he had Gibkiss for a little bit as well, but mainly Robbie Tarrant.
Yeah, so that little bit, he probably kicked all 4 goals, 3 on Gibkiss. DeConey, very quiet. Hopefully expecting a bit more, but we knew he was going to be a lockdown defender, and he's definitely a bench option. We're starting to lose.
He was on Tom Lynch, so yeah. It was very hard for him to get into the game.
Yeah, he's never going to be a high scoring Supercoach guy, but we're running out of rookie defenders.
He's going to play round 1.
He's basically in. Dangerfield, 25 touches. He looked fit and he was dominant. He was bursting out of packs again. If he gets more mid-time than he has over the last few seasons, it's going to be a great pickup, especially even if he gets that DPP. We don't know. Cooper Stevens has gone down with an ankle and he's now a massive avoid. Doesn't look like round 1 at all. So Dangerfield had 17 CBAs and Guthrie had 14. And keep an eye on a little man called Max Holmes, 13 CBAs, and he looked really good. I'm not sure of his price.
You're missing one name from Geelong.
I'm not finished, Jack. Not finished.
Okay.
All right. Max Holmes looked good. Tyson Stengel. Is that who you're talking about?
I mean, Yes, but there's someone else.
So quickly on Stengel, he dominated. He looked fantastic. Goals, link-up play, inside 50s, defensive
Got a
pressure.
couple goals out the back in the right position. He just knows what the goals are.
He looked really good. And Duncan is 50-50 for round one. He's racing the clock. Jack, who did I miss?
Joel Selwood
Playing on a
played on the half forward flank.
Half forward flank and wing.
So he spent majority of the game forward. He was used a lot, getting the ball just outside 50 and delivering it in. So he's most likely gonna get DPP to the forward line, and he's going to be scoring 100 easily.
Yeah,
100 to 105. So like if he gets that DPP, he is a very good choice.
You have to think though, was it just maybe they'll giving a few of the younger guys a run, like Max Holmes, seeing how they go, and he might go back. Well, he'll definitely play some inside mid time, but how much is up for discussion, really?
That's one thing we'll see in the Amy series, how, because there's not 44 players to rotate.
Yeah, exactly. I'll move on the GWS. Taranto had decent mid time, which was strange. Looked good. Canelio's a massive lock. Mid time looked almost like the Canelio of old. So put him in. Whitfield
of old 2 years ago.
Yep. Whitfield absolutely elite. Lock him in 502k. Lee Gallier played and showed a few good signs. There's no guarantee he'll be there round one, and if he does, he's similar to De Koning, except he's probably more likely to score more super coach. So yeah, see if he's there round one and how our rookies are. Flynn had 16 CBAs. I think he's going to be the number one choice at GWS unless something happens. Callum Ward had 15, Tom Green 13, Cogs, Josh Kelly and Cogs and Josh Kelly had 11, and Tarendo had 8, along with Lockie Ash, who looked decent as well. Bruce came on in the fourth quarter. Only had 6 CBAs. I think what's going to happen is they'll play Bruce and Flynn, but Bruce will go out of the side here and there for a rest. So I think he's probably big avoid. I probably wouldn't even have him at R3, even though I've got him there right now, but I'm waiting to see on rookies. So I've got some extra cash there. Yep.
Did Finn Callahan play for the Giants?
I'm not 100% sure. I feel like I might have heard his name.
Because I didn't watch the game, but he was their prized number 3 pick.
If he did, I didn't hear his name much. And at 190 odd K.
Yeah.
Probably not.
193, I think.
Yeah. So Gold Coast, Tuk. Locking me in 140 super coach. Lockie Weller, impressive, had 11 kick-ins. It looks like he might be getting midfield time and taking kick-ins. If he does, he's the great selection at 400k as a forward.
Yeah, I was going to say he's a forward.
Will Powell. That's Will Powell, yeah. Yeah. Will Powell, 120. I always get mixed up with the North Melbourne Powell. Will Powell, 120. And Matty Rowell, 118 super coach. Look good. I know at the moment, Jack, you have a man in the midfield of Lipinski. I reckon if Rowell has a good one, you downgrade Lipinski to Rowell because he will outscore him if he stays fit.
Rowell dogged me last season. I'm avoiding. He screwed me over.
Anderson, explosive and had plenty of CBAs. He looked really good as well. Alex Davies looked good. got a few goals. Silky could be a chance. Elijah Holland has played in the VFL. I think it's just get run into the legs. He was on a wing and he looked lively. He was getting a bit of the ball, so hopefully he can just keep building on it because we probably need him for our benches in the forward line. Witts is on track for round one. Should be in the Amy series game. So keep an eye on Witts. I know I'm looking at him for that R2 spot at the moment.
And I've got him.
And I know you have him. So CBAs, Anderson had 15, Miller 14, Rowell had 11, and Alex Davies had 7. Go to the Hawks. Tom Mitchell went through the paces, didn't really get out of first gear. I still
had plenty of it.
I still think he's a lock. Sicily is a massive lock. He looked great. It's been 18 months since his ACL, so I reckon you
and he took some kick-ins.
Yes, did. Do I have the stat there? No, I don't. Yeah, he's going to take most of their kick-ins. Ward did not have a good day at all. He's not looking like a round one chance. Connor McDonald looked really good. Played on a wing, got a bit of the ball. And I'd probably say he's in front of Ward at this stage for round one. Mitchell had 19 CBAs. The Warpedo had 18. Reeves 16. Looks like he's got the green light over Max Lynch, which we probably knew anyway. Newcomb and O'Meara 11. Connor Nash had 10 CBAs. McGuinness had 7, and as I said, Ward only had 2. Your boy Jack Will Day to miss the start of the season, which is not good.
Yeah.
And Chad Wingard is in the mix for the Amy series.
Is that all you got for Hawthorn?
At the moment, yes.
Can I chuck a name in?
You can chuck a name in.
I'm pretty sure it's Dylan Moore.
Yep.
He's around 5 forward, pushed right up. He was getting free kicks up in the defensive half. He was kicking goals. He looked very good. He was one of Hawthorn's best in a very dark day for the first 4 quarters.
It was a great day. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, for Hawthorn, it was a dark day until the VFL sides came in, mate. Locked them in for the VFL Premiership.
Yeah, I reckon Hawthorn are better off keeping Sicily and Tom Mitchell and then just chucking the VFL side in.
But, Dylan Moore did look very good. And last year he had scores of like 100, 110 as a small forward. He can easily be an 80, 90 average player.
Yeah, it just depends on his role. I'll move on to Melbourne. This was a training drill game for them.
It was very close.
Took the PISS. Gone 138 Supercoach, was doing intercepts and was with Jackson obviously playing forward, but he was pushing forward from the ruck contest anyway. Jackson had great tap work. He's looking athletic and with a nice jump, he can tap it down and can even follow that up. Petrarca and Clary, I think Clary had 123 Supercoach. They don't look like stopping. That's just the steam trains. But that could have just been their opposition. Clary in the 3rd or 4th quarter did dislocate a finger, but he kept going with that finger and put it somewhere in North Melbourne's butthole.
That's how it got dislocated. You got to get it out.
Salem had 111 Supercoach. He could be a cheeky option, and Harms had 108. CBAs, Clary had 22, Petrarca 20, Sparrow had 15, Jackson had 14, and Gawn and Harms had 12. So Gawn and Jackson 50-50 split. But Gawn still scored 138 Supercoach, which again might just be the opposition, but he looks like he still has that scoring potential that we're all worried about. North Melbourne, the GOAT, Goda, impressed, and he's a sneaky round one chance. Keep your eyes on him. Paul Curtis, another rookie, showed glimpses also. Horn Francis had a quiet first quarter, but after that, he was the most influential person on the ground for North Melbourne. He had 83 Supercoach, lock him in. Interesting one, CCJ had an iced knee. I don't know how bad that was, if it was just a precaution or not, but what does that mean for Cherry
He
and
had
Condon?
scans.
He had scans, did he?
He had scans, but he said that they just had scans just in case. They don't think it's anything serious.
Yep. Well, we know Goldie's got going to play. So if CCJ doesn't play, does that mean if they go on the three bigs, Cherry and Condon both get a go? So keep an eye on that. Zeeble, 114 Supercoach. He was the halfback general. Didn't look like anything changed except Aaron Hall wasn't there.
That's
Thomas,
more Supercoach to him, to be honest.
Yes. Taron Thomas, 81 Supercoach. He looked lively. He was one of their best. I'm going to say that 81 Supercoach might have been a few free kicks, and his kicking efficiency might have been down. Phillips, 52 Supercoach, got a few CBAs. Talking about CBAs, your boy Jack, Hugh Greenwood, had 23 CBAs. As you have a nice big smile, and I'm pretty sure you just fist bumped. Phillips, 18. Powell, 16. Thomas had 14. Horn Francis had 12. CCJ had 7. And Goldie had 23 as well. Davies Uniacke is back for the Amy series. So see what happens there.
Because we're having a good conversation about Hugh Greenwood.
We always do.
And his CBAs.
If that continues, then I might have been wrong, but we will see. Port, Johnny Sins, he looked great.
Looked very good.
He was amazing. If they round
even
one,
today, Port Adelaide were raving about him.
Yep, I've got it here. Mead looked good as well. Could be a good 123k option. Skinner did not look too good. Not the best outing for him. So he's probably on the cusp. I'd put Mead and Sin above him for chances. Darcy Byrne-Jones, 113 Supercoach. And Zach Butters, 167 Supercoach. He was impressive. He was everywhere. He's in my squad now. I was talking to a few people, those who know Swizz from Supercoach Insiders, having a chat to him about him versus Heaney, and a few other people got involved, and now I've got Butters. So if you guys are listening, white flag, I surrendered. Cull, Amon, and Wines were also great. Wines had 121 Supercoach. Their CBAs, Boak had 12, Wines had 11, Sam Hayes had 10, but Lysette went down with an ankle, but he will be playing the Amy series. Willem Drew, 7. Butters only had 5 CBAs. I'm not sure if that's right, but that's what I saw. But he still scored 167. So Mead had 5 as well. Pal Pepper has an injury and is not playing. He's not playing Amy, but he is a sneaky chance for a round 1 though.
With a hamstring.
Yeah, it looked like a bit more just tightness. They haven't come out and said anything, but I'm pretty sure I saw his sneaky chance round 1. Richmond, your boys, Jack, Darcy, impressive, looked strong again, looked fit.
Took the piss in the midfield.
Yeah, had crazy CBAs.
He had Dangerfield and Guthrie ankle broken within 2 seconds of each other.
Yeah, it looked like the Dusty evolved, but as I've spoken to you, Jack, you guys had 7 midfielders out. So when they all come back in, what does that mean for Dusty? So keep an eye out, but could be a good option.
Dusty is a lock for midfield. Damien Hardwick said that.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Thomas Dow looked great. He pretty much
Thompson.
Sorry. Played bulk mid.
He looked decent.
Big Hugo Railsmith, plenty on the halfback, looked good. There was no Rioli though, so see what happens with that. Gibcus, as we spoke about before, had that lockdown role. I'd say a bigger void for his price.
Yeah, super coach. It's just he's not
it's just that lockdown. It's the same as DeConning really, but he's what 70k more expensive than DeConning. 50. Jaden Short did short things. Bolton looked lively, even though it wasn't his best game. He still looked okay. Didn't get much.
Kick free.
Didn't get much mid-time though, so
yeah,
that's what we have to look out for. So the CBAs: Martin 22, Ross the Boss 19.
You're not going to mention him.
Hang on, mate. You just let me get through these CBAs, and you can talk about whoever the fuck you want. All right. Nank the Tank had 16, Dow had 16, Prestia 15, Soldo 11, and Bolton 4. Jack, who are you talking about?
So first one, Jack Ross. I said if he gets inside mid, he'll kill it. He had inside mid against Geelong. He killed it.
He did look good, but
if he keeps it, you know what I mean? He's very good option.
Yeah, but again, as I said to you the other day, you guys, and like just before, you guys had 7 midfielders out. So I think
was it 7?
Yeah,
because we had Cochin. That was the main midfielder that was out. Graham plays half forward. Lambert plays half forward.
They can all rotate into the midfield.
And the second one, Nankervis.
Big tank.
He was everywhere. And him and Soldo were rotating forward. They were barely going to the bench. They spent a lot more time on ground.
Yeah.
Nankervis kicked 1, Soldo kicked 2. If Witts isn't healthy and you have need someone around 400k, Soldo's going to make money.
Yeah, so as I said, Nank had 16 CBAs and Soldo had 11. So definitely people to look out for. St Kilda, Jack Hayes has finally been signed, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, he played the second half of the practice game. He had time in the ruck and up forward, but he is signed in the next few days. We should have 102k ruck forward. Jack Hayes, if he plays, you put him in. All right, we've said this. Well, I've mainly said this all pre-season. I've been big on this guy. If he plays, he's a lock. Marshall did not play in the Pricker game, but he's playing in the Amy series, and Paddy Ryder's looking unlikely for round 1 with his Achilles injury still working around. So if we find out Ryder's out for a while, I'm going to have Mr. Marshall at R2, I reckon. Jack Steele, 115 super coach, didn't get out of gear 1, same with Tom Mitchell. He had 19 CBAs. Seb Ross had 13. Zach Jones 11. Brad Crouch 10, and your boy Jack Hunter Clark had 6. And also Jack Sinclair, 121 super coach, could be a solid back option with what's his name, Caulfield out.
Nick Caulfield.
Yeah. We'll go to the Swans. Paddy McCartan looks solid down back, very promising. He's found his way into my squad. Heaney, good attack and got plenty of CBAs. If you can fit three primos, I'd have Dunkley, Heaney, and Butters.
What I have.
That's what you have. Lloyd and Dylan Stevens were very quiet, but Warner was excellent. He was everywhere, similar to the start of last year. We go to CBAs. Parker had 19, Warner had 15, Heaney 13, Florent 9, Latham 7, Hickey 13, Goulden 6, and Stevens 4. Papley 4 to 6 week hammy injury. What does this mean for Heaney? Does he play forward a bit more? It all depends on Callum Mills, I think. Because Mills is racing the clock to get back for round 1, so he's not out yet.
Mills is gone round 1.
Yeah, they might have come out, but I saw last night he's racing the clock, so it could be a 50-50. If Mills is back, I think that means Heaney plays forward to start the season. But if Mills isn't back, I think you lock Heaney into that midfield. The doggies, McRae did McRae things. 126 super coach. That's what we expect from him. Dunkley, Jack, you said he wasn't great. 124 super coach.
I'm just basing off what I read. Said that Dunkley was good without being great. That was quoted on Twitter.
124 super coach, and he had huge CBAs. We'll get to it in a minute, but he had a decent amount. I think he's a lock. Bailey Dale, he is a lock. I think 120 super coach. He had bulk the kick-ins. It's between him and Daniel. Daniel didn't really get that many. It was all Dale. And he looks good. He was rebounding. He was doing everything. He's looking really good at that cheaper option. Libba, 22 CBAs. McRae had 19. Dunkley had 16. English had 14 and Martin had 12. So 50-50 split there for those Team English owners. Trelaw only had 8, but looks very good. Bond had 6. Hunter had 5. And Robbie McComb had 2. There was no Baz Smith, but he's playing in the Amy game. And we get to West Coast. Injury City, bitch. Injury City. So pretty much everything I've got here is just injuries and then a few CBAs. All right, so my boy, Connor West, the Greg Clark replacement, injured. He's in, I think it was an ankle. He's in light training at the moment. He's 50-50 for round 1, but he's gone. Ralph Smith's come in at the moment. Tom Sheed, 15-week syndesmosis injury. As we know, Oscar Allen's out. Chesser, another back rookie option, out with an ankle. The Yo-Yo out. Shuey's out, Cole's out, Jamie Cripps is out, and Greg Clark's out.
Did you see what Nick Nat said?
I did not.
He come out and said him and everyone at West Coast is laughing at everyone saying that they're a mock of a team this year and gonna be nowhere. And he goes, "Watch out, we're gonna surprise you all, and we will be playing finals this year."
Yeah, I highly doubt that, Nick Nat. Calm down, mate.
I don't believe it. That's words of Nick Nat.
Yeah, no. Nick Nat was on something there. Tim Kelly had 18 CBAs. Nick Nat 16. West, who's now injured, had 15. So he was pretty much a lock, but not now. Redden 14. Jermaine Jones had 11. Blowjob Williams had 10. And Gaffin Yo-Yo had 7. So that's all I had last night. So I'll quickly read through just some updates from today. So Zach Butters got praised by Hinkley. Jake Stringer won't play Amy, but he's good for round 1. Mitch Hinge, I'm really confident in my body and all the work that I've put in. Eli Smith and Erasmus were impressive in the VFL, so hopefully they get a run. Ralph Smith set to establish himself at half back, wing, or half forward. hinge on his role for me. Halfback's my number one position. That suits my game style and athletic ability. I'll be trying to play on smalls and talls, but even up on the wing, the more versatile I am, the more likely I am to get picked. So that's good. Johnny Sins, Coach Ken Hinkley came out and said, we don't mind putting our inexperienced players out there early. He has to earn that, and in pre-season, he has been playing well. If he doesn't play round one, he'll be playing early. He'll be right in the mix. Jordan Dawson, the high-performance manager, came out on his calf soreness. He has done the work over the pre-season. That's put himself in a good position, so we don't expect this setback to be significant. So he's probably in round one. West Coast signed Hugh Dixon. He should be a 102k player for us in Supercoach, so could get games early. And as I said, Jack Hayes got signed by the Saints. Brendan Bolton on Pat Lipinski. He can hold his own on the inside and is a good, strong runner on the outside. So having that variety on the midfield is a good thing. So I think we already knew that about Lipinski. He'll go inside, he can spread. On Christian Salem, had an incident versus North where a player fell across his knee. We gave him every opportunity to be ready to play versus Carlton, but unfortunately he'll miss this week as well, but we'll be ready for round one, so we won't see Salem. As I said, Sam Doherty named a feature in Carlton reserves. Jack, you and I were speaking about this just before we started recording, but Isaac Heaney signed a 6-year deal.
Yeah.
He's signed on to 2028. It was an absolutely monster of a deal, but a good result for Sydney. Hawthorn is set to be without youngster Lachlan Bramble for round one after the 23-year-old injured his foot during the club's practice game against Collingwood on Friday, which I think that means James Sicily just gets more kickouts. Tomorrow night, rookies that are going to play: Daniel Turner, 123k defender; Jordan Boyd, 123k defender; Luke Parks, 199k defender; Cade Chandler, 123k defender; and Toby Bedford, 123k forward. Cade Chandler's a forward, and Toby Bedford's a forward as well. So this is on Kemp, but it features a few other people. So Brody Kemp pulled up from last week's practice match with some calf tightness. They're adopting the same approach taken with Curnow and Wietering. Kemp will sit out of the AAMI Community Series game in order to be available for round one. So Curnow, Wietering, rested, Kemp, calf tightness. And that's all the news.
Well, yeah, I was just about to say I've got the team news up, and you pretty much said that everyone that was important that is out is out.
Yep.
Just the one sneaky one is a Bailey Laurie. He's an emergency for Melbourne, so he's not playing, but he's listed as an emergency.
Yeah. Cool.
Fritsch is back in. Fritsch is in.
Who's that?
Bailey Fritsch is in.
Fritsch.
And
cool.
De Koning for Carlton.
Yeah.
With Harry Mackay.
So that's all the news for this week. Again, tell us what you think about this new stuff. I'll probably only do it for next week anyway. But pre-season, a lot of stuff happens. But if you like it, let us know and give us a like on YouTube. So the reason we're here today, Jack, is to do our top 10 mids. We did our defenders last week. We're doing our mids this week. Very tough. I've got 6 names here that haven't made the top 10 that I think could swap out with a couple of people. But
I had a horrible time.
Yeah. So it'll be the same as last week. Jack will start, tell us his number 10, what he thinks they're going to average, and then I'll say if I had them, or why I didn't, and what I think they're going to average, and we'll go down all the way to number 1. So Jack, who's at number 10?
So I think I've gone a little high with the scores with midfielders as well. I'm not too sure. But at 10, I've got Zach Merritt staying at that 115.
Okay. Reason?
He's Mr. Consistent. I said it when I did the Essendon review. You know what you're getting with Zach Merritt, and that's a lot of touches and good use with the ball. I just think that's going to continue.
Yeah, I did not have Merritt. He was one of those 6 players. I just think these people I've put ahead of him, I think they're going to score more. There's a breakout there. He could slide into 9th or 10th spot for me. But at number 10, I had Jared Lyons at 114 Supercoach points.
Well, he's someone who I had just missed out for me.
Yeah, he was one. I was looking at my number 10, and I had my number 8 person in the number 10 spot as well. Their name was there twice for some reason. I was going.
He's going to play twice the games. Yeah, that's why.
I was going through, and I was like, Lions, I want to back him in over a few people. So, I think he's going to get less points this year. That's why I've got him at 114. I'm pretty sure it was around that 118, I think, last year. Just with all the young guys going in, I feel like he'll get rotated forward or put onto a wing a little bit more. In the news, he still had plenty of CBAs, so it's not like he's getting chucked right out. But I do see a small decrease. But as you said with Merritt, he's Mr. Consistent and he flies under the radar. So I had Lions 114 Supercoach points at number 10. So Jack, Lions.
Oh yeah. I just think less centre clearances for him, which is less points, and it was bloody hard to pick the whole from probably 4 to 10. It was bloody hard for me.
Yep. So I was just looking. Lions 7th highest scoring midfielder last season. No, 6th highest midfielder last season. At 117 points. For average, he was 6th. Yep. So basically the same. So I've got him at 10. You've got him just out. Who is at your number 9 spot?
At my number 9 spot is Sam Walsh.
Sam Walsh. Okay.
And I've got him at 116.
Yep.
Like I said, I think he's going to get a tag roll, so I can't see him going up that 120 to 130. But there are going to be games this year where he plays a weaker opposition and he will go off. Now, obviously, he's injured, missing round 1, but this is off average. So, I like when he comes back, you know he's gonna score pretty well. But I can't see him pushing up that 120, 130. He was someone who was in, out, 10th, 9th, out. It's very hard, but yeah, I've got him at 116. Around the same as last year, I think.
Yeah, I was looking at 117 flat he got. I don't have him in my top 10. I just think with the injury, yes, this is based off average and not total points. But I think he might take a few more weeks to get into it, which might hurt his average a little bit. So that's why I think he might drop 3 to 4 points, but he's definitely one that could just go absolutely, one 120 because it's Sam Walton. He's an absolute gun. I don't think it's a decrease for because I don't think he can get any better. He can definitely get better, and I think he'll average 100, 125 in the next couple of seasons. But this season with the injury, I'm taking a few points off. So he didn't make my top 10. At number 9, I had Andy Brayshaw at 114 as well. If I had to, I'd have Lyons 114.1 and Brayshaw 114.7. So he's got that 0.6 on Lyons. I think it's time for this kid to cement himself in the AFL. He did it last year. What did he average last year? Let me get it up. So yeah, he averaged 107 last season. So I think he's going to increase by 7 points. He can definitely go 115 to 120. I've got him just under that by the smallest of margins. But yeah, this kid's a gun. He's gonna get it. I know what you're about to say. You're about to say he can't hold a tag.
No.
No? Okay. Go for it.
I was going to say he just missed out on mine, but I've got him averaging that 110 to 114.
Yep.
So he just missed out. Obviously, my 10th was at 115.
Yeah.
But I can see him scoring that 110 to 114, but he just missed out on mine.
Yep. Fair. It's still an improvement on last season. I think me personally, I think he's going to go just that extra 5 points more than you. Yep. So Jack, at number 8, who did you have?
When we did the team discussions, I mentioned his name as a cheeky pod. Rory Laird, averaging 118.
Yep.
Which I think is around the same as last year. Very similar.
Laird 116.
Yeah, so he's going up a couple. He's just like Merritt. He's just Mr. Consistent. And like I said, he's not with the top of the top, but he's in that middle to lower order. He's someone that I had, was a definitive choice between 8 and 10. He was the one name that I had in because it's Roy Laird. Know what you're getting with him. His points aren't going to drop.
Yep. Just a quick announcement. So Jack and I did not know our lists before coming into this. It was just completely random. I also have Laird at number 8.
Just like Tom Stewart last week.
That's it. But I've got him averaging 115. So you said you think your scores are lower. Let's start off mine are lower, but but mine starts to get big soon. So yeah, Laird 115, as you said, Mr. Consistent, full-time mid now. Matt Crouch is back, so there is that chance that he may not get a tag if teams tag. As I said, average 116, so I've got him a point less. I don't think there's going to be much difference, a couple points higher, a couple points lower. He's going to be around that 115, confirmed, good pod, plays games.
We've pretty much got him at 116.5 average between the two of us.
Which he was 116.2, so that was last season. The only reason he's going to miss a game is due to COVID. So, Jack, we'll move on to number 7.
I've got the nose himself, Marcus Bonton-Smelly.
Yep.
I've got him averaging 120.
Okay.
He's not a high possession getter. He's at 15 to 20, but he gets the inside 50s. He gets the goal assists. He gets goals. He tackles. He marks. He's a gun. I think it's maybe a little higher than the average last season. I think he was at 118, 119.
119.7.
Yeah, so I've pretty much got him on the same, but you know what you're getting from the Bond.
Yep.
That's all I really need to say.
So I had Bont at 6, and I've got him scoring 118. Again, it's just one of those things. He might go up a few points from last season.
He might go down.
Might go down, but it's going to be roughly the same. If he improves his goal kicking, he can easily go 125. Showed a little bit last season, but we need a bit more scoreboard. What's the word I'm looking for? If I can just hit him the scoreboard. So I've got him 6 at 118. My number 7 is Lockie Neal at 116. Injury plagued season last season, and by that face, Jack, I'm guessing you have him at 6. Injury plagued last season, didn't really get going. His last 5 games, let me find it. Where is he? Where is Lockie Neal? I can't find him. Great. Did he average less than that? No, actually, he didn't average less. Oh, no, here he is. It was by total points, that's why. Lockie Neal averaged 99.8, so that's a bad year for Lockie Neal, averaged 100. With a full preseason, I think we see him going 115 to 120. I don't think he'll get the 125 plus like his Brownlow year. He looked good in the Pracky game. You know what you're going to get if he's fit. He's a great selection at 543k. He's a lock, must have. 116. Where did you have him, Jack?
I had him at 5, but equal 4.
Yep. Averaging
123.
123. Okay, so basically what I just said, you're like, nah, it's gonna happen.
Nah, you're wrong. My number 6, and this was the hardest one of them all. I've got Clary.
Oh, at 6.
Averaging 122. And I'm looking at it like, I've put it, yes, but it could easily be a lot higher.
Yeah.
This is where I said my lows are score, like my scores are low.
Yeah.
I think my number 1 spot will be lower than what you've put. But Oliver, I put him at 122. As you can see, I'm like, I don't know. You know what you're getting with Oliver. That's probably the lowest I can see him averaging.
Yeah, average.
He could easily go
123 last season.
Yeah, he could easily go that 128, 130. I've got him at 122. It's just Melbourne's midfield is stacked. Him and Petrarca are the leaders of it, but with how stacked they are, I'm a bit weary of his score jumping.
Yeah.
Too much. He's still gonna kill it. He's still an option. I've just got him at that 122 at number 6.
Yeah. I think Clary, there's a chance there might be less time on ground. They might rest him in parts of the season just to get him ready for finals. Oliver, I had 4th at number 4, averaging 123. So basically,
so we've got him around the same points. That's all right then.
And yeah, as I said, my number 6 was Bont at 118. We've already spoken about him. So Jack, who's your number 5?
Well, like I just said, Lockie Neal, 123. He's at 5, but he's equal 4th. So I love how you got Oliver at 4 at 123, and I've got my 4th at 123.
Yeah.
But I don't really need to say much about Neil. You pretty much went through it.
Yep. So my number 5, Tom Mitchell, averaging 120. Averaged 117 last season and did nothing for the first half of the season. He looked to be back. Injuries behind him. The pig that we all know and love. I think he can do that again. I think 120 is the benchmark. He could possibly go more. But with Sam Mitchell, new coach, does he get a few less CBAs? Does he push forward a little bit more? Not sure. Tom Mitchell, 120. He's a little bit cheaper than your Clarys and your Tuk Tuks. I've got him at M3 at the moment over both Clary and Tuk, just because his value to price is a lot better than what theirs are. Did you have Mitchell, Jack?
Well, going in with my number 4, it is Tom Mitchell.
There you go.
At 123.
Okay. Yep.
With Neil. He just went through it again. Not much to say. It's Tom Mitchell.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really need to say much.
Yep. So you had him at 4. I had Clary at 4 at average 123, which we've already spoken about. So Jack, who's at number 3?
So my number 3 and 2 are equal again.
Okay.
And at 3, it's Tuk Tuk.
Tuk Tuk.
125 average.
Yep.
You know what you're getting with Tuk Miller.
So if you had to put a decimal point in, he's 125 point what?
I'd probably say 0.5. Just
5?
to play it safe.
Yep.
You can't tag him. You can try, but it's not going to stop him. And he will put the tag on you and your stuff. Like I said, my 3 to 1 I feel like's low. I've already said that my number 2 is also at 125.
Yeah.
But Took is the best of the best. He could easily bounce that to 130. I've just got him at 125.
Yep. At number 3, I have Tuk Tuk as well. I've got him averaging 124. So he averaged 124.5 last season. And as when we went through Gold Coast and we was talking about Miller, I did say I don't think he can get better than what he did last season. That's why I still got him at 124. Just to go on what you were saying, he's an absolute gun. He gets plenty of the ball. But the points he doesn't score, if he has those quieter games, he makes up with tackles. And he's got such a good engine and a work rate that he pushes back, he runs back forward, he pushes back again. He does it all. He's got a massive tank.
He's someone every club would love, and he would walk into any team and start in their midfield.
Yep. So the reason I have him 124 is just because I don't think he can get better, but he could prove me wrong.
We've got him a point difference, so that makes me feel a bit better.
I mean, if you think about it, we've got him on his average last season. So
yeah.
Number 2, Jack, who do you have?
Jackson McRae.
Yep.
125 again. Again, Mr. Reliable. You know what you're getting. You're getting 30-plus touches. You're getting effective disposal. You're getting goal assists. You're getting inside 50s. You're getting center clearances. You're getting everything. The only thing you might not get is kick-outs. I mean, that's pretty hard for him to do. With that Bulldogs team, that's probably the one thing you won't see Jackson McRae do. He'll do everything else. That's not it's hard to say about the top 3, especially because you know what they're gonna bring.
Yeah. I also had McRae at number 2, and I also had him averaging 125. get around us. So we're talking about a bloke, highest average last season in Supercoach, 128.6. I got him at 125 because one, I don't think he can go much better than last season, but he does have the potential to do that. I just don't think he will. He could easily average 130, but I think this might be the year we start to see the slow decline of Jackson Macrae. I've got him 3 points lower than last season, which isn't much. But I reckon in the next 2 years, so what we're in 2022, so I reckon in 2024 he'll be averaging under 120. As you said, you know what you get with Macrae. He does everything. Broke the record for disposals. Does it all. There's not much more you can say. I just think he can't go better, and I think there might be a slow decrease now. Maybe they bled some young guys through their midfield, and he gets put onto a wing a little bit more, but that suits him because he can run anyway. So, which I think, Jack, I think that means our number one is the same as well.
Yeah, it is Jack Ross. No, well, Jack, yes, but still.
Yep.
I've got him at 128, which I didn't realise, but that was Macrae's score highest last year.
Yep.
So I've done well with the averages last year. Still, I think he can push 130 plus. I'm just being safe with 128. Again, you know what you're getting with him. He's more similar to Took than Macrae because he's a bull and he puts the tag on you and you're fucked, and you put the tag on him and he's still gonna dominate. I just think he's got more scoreboard impact to Miller, and that's why I've got him at number one. But he's going to get a lot of the ball, a lot of tackles, a lot of inside 50s, goals. He's going to do it all. Even kick-outs. He's going to do it all.
I don't know about the kick-outs, but everything else, yeah. So, obviously, I have Jack still at number one as well. I've got him at 127, though.
So, see, I thought I was low, but it turns out I was higher. Even though it was by one, like every single spot really was by one. I thought I went low.
Yeah, so it started off very low, but then my top five, I started to pick it up a little bit. So still at 127. He averaged 126 flat last season. So small increase. And as we said, with a few of these guys, it's going to be around the same as last year. It just depends, a couple more, couple less. Who knows? Still has the potential to go 130. One reason I have him at one and Macrae at two, which I forgot to mention, is the number one scoring Supercoach player has never done it 2 years in a row.
Oh, really?
I don't think even Gary Ablett did. He might have.
So who was it 2 years ago then?
What, in 2020?
Yeah.
Lockie Neal.
Yeah, Brownlow year. Okay.
Yeah, so that's something to think about. It's very hard for that number one to finish number one again. It rarely happens. As I said, I don't know if it has happened, but very rarely. Still, as Jack said, similar to Talk, those games where he's not getting as much of the ball, he's getting tackles, and still likes to go forward and about 30 metres out, snag him from there. So he's got that scoring potential, but the tackles are the big one. He's an absolute beast. I think, he got like 16 tackles in one game last season or something?
Yeah, it was something ridiculous.
Something like that. So he basically scored like 80 points just from tackles in one game. So I'm pretty sure he went 160 plus in that game. And if not, it was definitely
Didn't he
150.
have a game 200? Or was it 190s, high 190s?
Let's have a look. Season 2021 stats. Highest score 158.
Okay, it might have been a couple of years ago then. Or someone else I'm thinking of.
Lowest score of 91.
Yeah, no, I thought he had one like huge score.
Yeah, it was a 158. Let's see. Yeah, the 140, a 154, another 154, a 149, 145, the 158, the 155, a 150.
That's what I mean. He can average 130 plus easily.
Yeah. Scored 91 twice, and those 2 times were the only times he went under 100. So you can book him in for 125, can go 130. But as you've just heard, Jack, and I think he's going to be the number one averaging and most likely, if he plays all games, total points scorer for season 2022. So the names I had just out of the top 10, I had Walsh, Parrish, Petrarca, Merritt, Wines, and Guthrie. I think they were the 6 people to name. They all just missed out.
They'll all be 110 plus, but
yeah, they'll all be between 112 and 114. They could easily, Parrish and Walsh could easily come in for Lyons and Brayshaw. I just thought Brayshaw was going to improve, and Lyons was, as I said, top 6 last year, and I think he's going to continue that. So,
a quick question.
Yep.
We talk about him. We both didn't have him in our top 10s. Where can you see Caleb Sarong's average at? We talk about him as the breakout king.
Yes. So let me get him up first.
Because if you want, I'll go first. I have him around 105 to 110.
Yep.
That's a jump from 88.4 or 88.5 last season. So that's a good 20-30 jump, which is a breakout.
82.9.
Yeah. It's a big jump. With the more centre bounces, I just think he could be a bit more better use of the ball, which could bump him up to just out or just in the top 10. But this season, I see him having that jump to around 105 to 110.
Yep. I definitely have him closer to that 110. I think so. A breakout means a big jump on their previous score, right? So he averaged 82. So he's going to have to jump 27 points this season to get that 110, right? So I think you're spot on around 105. I think he can go towards that 110 though.
That's why I said 105 to 110.
So his last score was 53 last season. And other low scores were 58, 57, 64. Now, funny enough, that was against Carlton, Hawthorn, and Adelaide. He had a 53 against West Coast, a 73 against Essendon, 65 against Sydney, 59 against Port, 65 against Carlton, a 59 against Geelong. So that might have been role-based. I don't know. But he is pushing for more mid-time. It's seeming like he's going to get more mid-time. So I don't think we'll see those scores. I think his lowest, I think we get is probably about 85 at his lowest. His highest last season was 135. I think that's about right. He might be able to crack a 150 here and there, but I wouldn't count on it.
Well, now with the centre bounces, he could. He's got that what do you call it, leverage or like capacity to get that 140, 150 every now and again.
Yeah, he has the potential to do so. I think it's just a more consistency thing. It took, and not saying he's on this level at all, but it took Dusty a while to get those consistent games.
Yes.
I remember, especially in Supercoach, do I pick Martin? Nah, he only plays half a game, and then next season he's playing 3/4, in a game, and that 1/4's letting him down, and then he went bang, playing full games consistently. His score went up, 1 Brownlows, 1 Premierships. That's what I'm seeing from Sarong. Not the Brownlows or the Premierships. I'm seeing
not yet. They're coming. 2024 Brownlow medalists, lock it in.
These lower scores, especially those around the 80s and 90s, they might have been half game scores. So we're looking for those full game scores, and that's going to get him that 105, 110. So that's what he needs to do. I still have him for breakout king 105, go on that extra 20 odd points. I can still see that happening at a cheaper price at 451k. He is a great option, but I would be a little bit weary on that consistency. But that's why he's a breakout contender because it hasn't happened, but it could happen. So,
I'm pretty sure Andy Brayshaw was the same. Last 2-3 years, you've been saying this is the year he's going to step up. And then he went from like 80 to 88. Then he went from like 88 to 94, something like that. Like, they were small jumps. And then he got to the 100 mark this year, or last year, I should say.
Yep. So let's have a look. 2019, 70 points. 2020, 101. So he jumped up 30 points. And then last season, he went 101 to 107. And that's why I've got him at 114. I think he's going to jump again. So
yeah, but it's similar to like Brayshaw with what you were saying. It was like, oh yeah, it's going to happen. And then it just slowly jumped up. Then he went bang.
Yeah, it's just waiting for it to happen. Was there any other names that I didn't mention that you had just missing out, or have we covered them all, you reckon?
You had me Wines, but I think Wines is 114 to 115.
Yep.
His maximum is 155, 158. We saw it last year. But his lowest is also like 80s or even some mid 70s. So, like, Wines is one big one that I talk about, and you know that.
Yep.
Who else?
So, last season, Wines highest score 161, lowest score.
Yeah, his last like 3 games was like 155, 158, 161, or something like that.
Yeah, his lowest score of 70.
Yeah, like that's Wines' problem is if he gets rid of those 70s, he could easily be a top 3 mid.
And he's got that 70 was against Adelaide. He scored an 81 against North Melbourne. It seems like these weaker teams, he might have had a break.
Yeah.
Also, we haven't named Crisp or Dunkley because we see them being top 10.
Well, we named Crisp in the defence.
Yeah, and we had about 112, so he wouldn't have made the list anyway. Dunkley probably won't average the 114, 115 anyway. Possibly could, but Anyone with DPP status, we're going to put in the line where they've got more value. So just in case anyone out there is unsure.
2 names I'll chuck in. Travis Spoke. He's aging like fine wine. He's gonna be around that 110 again. Luke Parker, I think I can see around that 110 again. But like I said last week, if he gets that forward DPP, which is, I'm not sure, I didn't watch the Sydney game, so I don't know where he played, but you said he had a lot of centre bounces. That worries me a bit with that DPP, but if he gets that forward status, crazy.
Yeah. So I think that's about it for this. So that'll do us for tonight's podcast. What did you think of our top 10 midfielders by average? Were we too low? Were we too high? Let us know.
Who would you chuck in? Who would you take out?
Yep. Let us know in the YouTube comments or on Twitter. Next week, we will be going through our top 5 rucks and top 10 forwards. So we'll start with the rucks next week, then we'll go on to the forwards. Again, we thank you all for your support and for listening and watching on Apple Podcasts and on YouTube. Don't forget to keep hitting us up on Twitter at BreakEvensPod or in the YouTube comments at the BreakEvens. Just before we completely sign off, just a quick reminder, I said it at the start, we have our Supercoach Draft League next Wednesday. It'll be going on while we're recording, so we might have a small chat here and there about that when we're going through the news or stuff like that. If you want to join, we have 2 spots left, so the code is 381227. And if it's full, let us know on Twitter. If we have enough,
we'll bump it up.
If we have enough people, because I'm pretty sure it goes by 2s, so we need 12 people, so an extra 2 to extend it. If we get that, we'll be able to fit everyone in. If not, we will respond to you guys and be like, look, we're waiting on another person. If you can get someone that's keen, that'll be ideal. But if not, we'll see how we go. I'll keep putting reminders on our Twitter. But apart from that, we're done. Tell us what you think. Thank you all again. And as always, till next week, it's bye for now.
Catch ya.